The Time magazine recently published an article titled Hindu Lives Matter emerges as dangerous slogan after horrific killing in India. The article was published as a response to public anger and concern on social media after the brutal beheading of a Hindu tailor in Udaipur by the local Islamists. The article equates the slogan of Hindu Lives Matter to that of a call for Muslim genocide. The article, apart from terming the Muslim population of India of being marginalized, alleges that under the BJP rule since 2014, rhetoric, policies, and violence have increased against the Muslims. How much weight do these allegations carry? Let us examine. In the last week of May 22, in a heated debate, Nupur Sharma, a former BJP spokesperson, responded to her co panelists' abuses toward Lord Shiva by citing some instances of Islamic history. The statements, though factually accurate, angered Muslims across the globe. They occupied streets in several cities and indulged in large scale violence. Public calls for Nupur Sharma's beheadings were made by the Muslim religious leaders. Following this, multiple Hindus were murdered for merely supporting Nupur Sharma's freedom of speech. Kanhaiya Lal was one of the victims. Well, Kanhaiya's murderers released the video footage of the beheading on social media and acknowledged that they committed the murder in the name of Allah. Sanya Mansoor, the author of Time article, tries to soften their heinous crime and indirectly puts the blame on Kanhaiya Lal himself. She writes, Lal appeared to have been targeted because he seemed to express support of derogatory remarks made about Prophet by the former BJP spokesperson Nupur Sharma in May. Sanya Mansoor doesn't stop here. Instead of asking hard questions from her fellow community members, she tries to give their barbarity an intellectual cover. She builds a case for Muslims by calling them victims who are facing severe persecution in a Hindu majority India. She also brings up the narrative of cow vigilantism and Hindu violence. Cows, which are revered by Hindus as mothers since Vedic times, are smuggled and illegally slaughtered in various parts of India and to neighboring Muslim majority Bangladesh. Large number of Hindus have been killed by Muslim cow smugglers for raising their voice against the illegal cattle trafficking, which is destroying the rural economy as well. Slaughtering the cows is an Islamic tool to mock the heathen Hindus. In 2015, a Hindu named Prashant Pujari was hacked to death in Karnataka's Mudbitri by Muslim cow smugglers. The murder of Pujari was shamelessly justified by journalists belonging to the same Islamic lobby. In 2018, two Hindu sadhus were brutally murdered in Auraiya of Uttar Pradesh. The sadhus were raising their voice against the illegal cow smuggling and slaughtering prevailing in the area. But to make it worse, several cases of Muslims raping cows have also been reported in the recent years. Clearly, Sanya Mansoor needs to get down off Islamic horse and embrace some humanity. Now let us examine Sanya's claim of Muslim marginalization in India. Here are some facts for her. Muslims are the only growing community in India. The Muslim population in India grew by 4.4% between 1951 and 2011. From 9.8% in 1951, Muslims now constitute 14.2% of the Indian population. Hindu population has declined in India to 79.8% in 2011 from 84.1% in 1951, which is a decline of 4.3%. Muslims receive disproportionate amount of share in almost all governmental schemes. They are 200 million in India and constitute the second largest majority. Still, they have been assigned a minority status in the country. They are appeased by each and every political party across the spectrum. For example, the so-called anti-Muslim Modi-led BJP government has increased the budget for the Ministry of Minority Affairs from Rs 3,531 crore to Rs 5,020 crore in just 8 years. The Indian government disbursed Rs 2,000 crore to Muslim students as scholarships in 2021-22. This is almost 70% of total amount disbursed by the government as scholarships. The Indian state allows the Muslims under Article 26 of the Indian Constitution to administer their places of worship independently. On the other hand, the Indian state has absurd Hindu temples. The Maulvis and Muezzins of mosques, on the other hand, are paid salaries by government of various states. Article 30 of the Indian Constitution permits Muslims to establish and run their own institutions. Using this, Muslims have established several institutions to further their religious objectives. Not only this, most of these institutions are funded by the Indian government using the public money, which is unconstitutional. Aligarh Muslim University and Jamia Millia Islamia belong to this category of institutions. Almost all state governments in India spend huge amount of money on Muslim madrasas. Even Yogi government of Uttar Pradesh, which is presented as anti-Muslim government in mainstream media, fund Muslim madrasas and has several welfare policies for their students. While Indian state calls itself a secular state, Muslim enjoy a special status when it comes to following religion. Through Muslim personal laws, the Indian state has allowed Muslims to practice their religious customs even if they come in conflict with general state policies. For example, Indian state has set the minimum age for marriage of females at 21 years, but the Indian state allows Muslim men to marry girls as young as 15 to 16 years. This is Indian state cowering to Islam even at the cost of humane values. Hope Miss Sanya Mansoor will take a notice of this and will write an article or two about the unequal treatment that women receive because of Muslim personal laws in India. Even after all this appeasement by the Indian state, Muslims haven't come out of their medieval intolerant mindset. After a partition on religious lines in 1947, while Muslims established an Islamic state, Hindus remained under a secular state and gave Muslims special rights in India. But only after 40 years of partition, Hindus of Kashmir faced the consequences of one-sided generosity. A genocidal jihad was launched against them. 500,000 of Kashmiri Hindus had to flee their ancestral land for millennia. The Indian state not only kept silent but increased the volume of its appeasement schemes for Muslims in the valley. Even now, under the BJP government, the Islamic violence against the common Hindus is on the rise. Hundreds of Hindus have been murdered by the Islamists. Chandan Gupta was shot dead in 2018 by the Muslims in Kasganj of Uttar Pradesh. His crime was that he was carrying national flag in a Muslim majority area of the town. Kamlesh Tiwari was stabbed and shot dead in October 2019 in Lucknow for comments on Prophet. In 2020, 21-year-old Nikita Tomar was shot dead in broad daylight in Ballabgarh, Haryana by two Muslims after she refused to convert to Islam and marry one of them. In February 2021, 26-year-old Rinku Sharma was lynched by a Muslim mob for celebrating the Bhumi Pujan of Sri Ram Janmabhoomi Mandir. Such murders and lynchings have become common in India. The whole world witnessed the anti-Hindu riots in Delhi of 2020, followed by large-scale violence in West Bengal after the 2021 state elections, where scores of Hindus were murdered by Muslim mobs. Though the Indian state treats 200 million plus Muslims as a minority group, in reality, Muslims are a global majority and act as one single force dedicated and motivated to further Islamic cause. It is clear that the entire narrative around the so-called Islamophobia has been manufactured by the global Islamic Ummah, aided by the left, to hide the real issues of growing Islamic extremism in India, which faced a partition just 75 years ago, giving birth to Islamic states of Pakistan and Bangladesh. Ms. Sanya Mansoor too is a part of this machinery.